Hey Exoticals, welcome back to the Beluga series. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how you're fat because you settled. Have you ever been around a pretty girl who was young, she had so much potential, she was ambitious, and then as soon as she gets a man, as soon as she gets some dick, then suddenly she falls off? It's because her entire level up journey was male centered. I talk about this all the time. Weight loss is a form of social power because people underestimate how much it actually takes to lose weight. Do you know how strong minded you have to be to lose weight? Do you know how many times you have to tell yourself no to be able to lose those pounds? So that's why I say that weight loss is a form of social power and social climbing because you're taking the power back over your body. You're taking the power back over your cravings. You're not a slave to cookies. You're not a slave to snacks. I don't want to eat the snack. I want to be the snack. So, which one do you want? Do you want to eat all the snacks or do you want to look like a snack? Do you want to eat the appetizers or do you want to look like the appetizer? You look like dinner. You look like dessert. And I see a lot of creators talking shit about different weight loss strategies. There is no wrong way to lose weight as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. So that could be intermittent fasting. I've seen some pretty girls doing like vegan or vegetarian or keto. I don't really care how people choose to lose weight as long as they're healthy. Because the women who are talking shit about healthy women, those are the women who settled. They decided to settle for a size 16. They decided to settle for a size 1X. And I'm not really the type of girl that likes to be average. I don't really like to be basic. And so I don't have that mindset where it's like, oh, well, losing 10 pounds is good enough. I don't want to just be basic. I don't want to be average. I don't want to be medium. I'm not a medium ass bitch. That just doesn't really sit well with my personality. So everybody has their own internalized standard of beauty. Why is it that it's okay for you to think you're beautiful at a size large, but then I don't get to think I'm beautiful at a size small? Do you see the hypocrisy there? But a lot of women have settled in their relationships, and the dusty man that they're dating is making them feel comfortable. Most women get too comfortable in their relationships, and then they turn around and get mad when their husband is looking at women who are in shape. These women are the ones where they get mad when skinny women wear short shorts, or they get mad when you wear a bikini because you're soaking up all the attention. It's like, ma'am, you should have just admitted that you wanted the attention and then just get the attention then. Just get the attention for yourself. If you want positive attention for your body, then you have to start by giving yourself that attention by feeding your body nutritious foods. So I find it hilarious how people talk so much shit about thin women not being modest. And it's like, well, of course I'm not going to be modest. I worked hard for the body that I have. Why would I be modest? Why would I spend 6 months in the gym, eating healthy, drinking protein shakes, just so I could wear a burlap sack for the rest of my life? You got me all the way fucked up. I worked hard on my stomach, so guess what? My stomach will be out every day, 365 days a year. And especially for the women who just got thin in their 30s, or maybe they were out of shape when they were younger, those women have a right to celebrate their healthy body as they get older. And I see a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, you're too old to be dressing like that. You're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, why are you wearing a bikini, why are you dressing skimpy? Because she can do what she wants with her body. I feel like there's a difference between the women who do what they want versus the women who do what they can. When I'm skinny, I really can do what I want. I can wear what I want. I can flaunt whatever body part I want because all my body parts look good. Arms, shoulders, legs. So when you're thin, you can do what you want. When you're obese, you do what you can. So that's why I say that for some women, they just settle and then they get mad at the women who didn't settle. I don't want to stop at being average. I don't want to stop at second best. I want to achieve my initial goal. So if my weight loss goal was to be a size extra small, then I am not going to stop until I get to a size extra small. And that's another thing too. They'll be like, oh, well, you've been trying to lose weight for 5 years and you still only lost 10 pounds. Okay, well, I have the rest of my life to work on weight loss. What are you going to do the rest of your life? Work on weight gain? I mean, which direction would I rather be going in? It doesn't matter if I fail a million times as long as I get it right eventually. But that beluga that's trying to talk shit about you, she's just mad because she settled. She settled for only doing 10 minutes on the treadmill. She settled for only drinking one protein shake, or, she settled for only having 10 grams of protein per day instead of 100. She settled for eating snacks and fueling her body with sugar instead of fueling her body with fiber and protein and healthy fats. So, a woman whose body has been neglected, that's an example of someone who settles. So that's why I say that having a sloppy body that literally doesn't match my personality type, I'm not a sloppy ass bitch. I don't have a sloppy schedule and I don't want to have a sloppy diet. But another reason that belugas have settled is because they chose their own comfort over growth. They don't have a growth mindset. They have a fixed mindset. Oh, I'm always going to be fat. Oh, well, my mom and grandma were fat, so that's what I'm going to be. Oh, it runs in my family. I'm just big boned. I'm just thick. I naturally have a big butt. Oh, well, I'm heavy chested. I have large breasts, so I'm always going to have that. Might as well just stay fat. Okay, so she chose her comfort zone and she doesn't like a challenge. She doesn't like to challenge herself. She doesn't want to see how long she can go without eating sugar. She doesn't want to test herself. And so instead, she would rather just live with the suffering of fat phobia. She would rather deal with fat phobia than just stop eating the cookies. And for all the people who say, oh, well, that's wrong, you shouldn't judge people based on their weight. Okay, well, society is not fair. Why would I play fair in an unfair world? Why would I go around hoping that somebody will pity me enough to treat me good as an obese woman? That doesn't even make sense. I can't control how other people treat me, but I can control how I treat myself. I can control what I put in my mouth. And I was actually thinking about this today because I haven't been grocery shopping in a while. And I was going to go to the store and get some extra snacks, but I was like, you know what? No, I have vegetables at home. I have protein at home and I have healthy fats at home. If I go to the grocery store, I know I'm going to end up getting snacks. So why would I lie to myself and pretend like I need to go grocery shopping when I have a pantry full of food? A lot of women who settle, they will go and spend money on snacks and they make this excuse like, oh, I have no food in the cabinet. No, you do have food, you just don't want that food. So you're a slave to your wants, you're a slave to your desires, you're a slave to your emotions. Emotions and cravings don't have to dictate my life. And I see a lot of women, they'll be like, oh, well, I was on my period. Oh, okay, so because I'm on my period, now that means I can settle for less? Now that means I pump my body with poison and sodium because I'm on my period? Do you hear how idiotic that sounds? What does blood coming out of my vagine, what does that have to do with me staying on track with my goals? But number 3, reason why belugas settle is because they settled in their career. So they feel like, hey, I already have the job I want. I don't need to look cute at this job. I don't need to impress anybody. So might as well just be a beluga. Might as well just eat the donuts. I might as well celebrate with food. And by the way, food is not a celebration. That's not my main way of celebrating. If I want to celebrate, I will take myself on a vacation. I will get myself some new clothes. I will write a special journal entry. I can post on social media and celebrate, take some pictures. That's another way to celebrate. Why is it that because you got a new job, your form of celebration is to go spend money every day in the cafeteria at that new job? First of all, you're giving away your paycheck money. So you're telling me that all of my paycheck is going to go to Popeye's Chicken and Starbucks? This paycheck that I worked hard for, this cubicle that I sat in for 40 hours a week, 25% of that money is going to go towards the work cafeteria. That's a bad social climbing strategy. That's why I say some women settle in their careers. They settle in their relationships. So they're stressed out about their dusty boyfriends or dusty husbands. They're stressed out about their own desirability. And then they settled in their career. And so whatever is going on at that company, they just deal with it. They just deal with the stress that's going on. The way that they cope at their job is by eating cookies or bringing candy and sitting it at their desk. And I've also noticed that some women prioritize money over beauty. And that's fine, but I'm never going to prioritize money over my own health. So it's not about losing weight just so you can be pretty. I mean, I at least want to be a healthy weight. But the women who settled in their careers, these are women who just sit around all day. They don't get up during their break. They don't go take their 10K steps. They just sit at their desk and scroll on their computer. They scroll on Reddit. They try to scroll on their phones and hide it from their boss. They would rather sit around and gossip with their coworkers instead of taking some steps around the building. They don't want to go out and get any fresh air because, it takes about 100 steps to walk to the front door. So they don't want to do that. They only go into the break room and then they just go back to their desk. That's their routine. They settled. And I see some basic Betties at the workplace. They try to shit on pretty women. They'll be like, oh, well, you may have beauty, but I have money. And it's like, you don't realize that beauty actually can help you to get access to money because you can get paid for your beauty. You can get paid for modeling. You can get free stuff from brands. And so now you're saving money because you don't have to spend on buying makeup because brands are sending you that for free. So women who settled in their careers, they feel like their career will give them more social power than weight loss. And that's false because when you lose weight, you also learn a lot of life skills. Like some of the things that I learned from weight loss, I have transferred that over into other areas of my life. The discipline that I've learned, how to fuel my body, it actually helps me to like try different sports and like, I don't know, just like the strategies that I learned from losing weight. All of that stuff is like a crossover skill that I can use in other areas. But women who settle with their careers, they feel like, oh, I already have all the skills I need. I'm a know-it-all. I know everything. I've been at this job for 15 years. Okay, but how many years have you had a healthy body? I'll wait. And these women who work these 9 to 5s, they don't want to meal prep and like bring the meals in because they're too lazy to carry the extra stuff to their car. Or the women who take the bus, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to carry a lunch pail when I go on the bus. I might drop it or I might lose it. Okay, all of that is just an excuse. Even when I used to buy food from the cafeteria, I would buy something low calorie. I would get a soup for $5. That's my lunch. I don't need a gigantic 12-inch Subway sandwich every single day. And so these women, they're not even strategic about the lunch menu. As a skinny girl, I'm one of the girls who will look at the menu ahead of time. So if I am at a job or something and I want to see what they have in the cafeteria, I'm going to find the healthiest thing on the menu and I'm going to get that. Like when I used to work at a hospital, I would go to the salad bar. That was my lunch. I would pay $5 and then they would give you like a small bowl and you could fill that with salad. So I would always get a bunch of eggs and beans and put it in my salad so that I had protein. Then I would put the spinach in there. So women who settle in their careers, they have this mindset of just wanting the most convenient thing. Leveling up is not convenient. That's why most people don't do it. They're not going to sit there and ponder over the menu for 5 minutes. They just want the fastest thing. They have to hurry up and clock back in. So, they just get something they can microwave and then they want to hurry up and go back to their desk. If I'm going to microwave something, I'm going to microwave a bowl of soup. I'm not going to go to the work cafeteria and get anything that has bread or dough in it. Usually that's like the worst thing that you can choose. Sandwiches, Egg McMuffins, all of that bread and that dough is really just empty calories. And by the way, a lot of times it's also filled with gluten. So why would I want to eat white bread every single day for breakfast and lunch at the work cafeteria? Oh, well, that's all they have at my job. They don't have a lot of options. Okay, so you settled. You settled for whatever this company was feeding you. What's the difference between that and prison? People don't realize that they're putting themselves in these mental prisons at these jobs. They're making everything a reason as to why they can't be healthy. But number 4 is she settled for lower standards. So it's this mindset of, oh, well, this is just how it is. This is just how I am. So, I'm diabetic or I'm sensitive to vegetables. Oh, well, if I eat too much fiber, it's going to make me have to be on the toilet all day long. So they have a defeatist mentality about their body. They feel like their body is fundamentally flawed. And by the way, there's no such thing as a human being whose body works perfectly all the time. So even skinny people, we get constipated too. We have health issues as well, but we still learn how to portion control. And I've also heard some belugas say things like, oh, well, I'm always going to be ugly, so there's no point in losing the weight. My life is not going to improve in any way. And it's like, okay, have you even tried to lose the weight? Have you even tried to lose 100 pounds, or did you just give up before you even started? And by the way, I don't see how eating more food will solve your problems. So that's why I say it's a form of settling. She's addicted to food. She is addicted to carbs. She's addicted to feeling full because she feels emotionally empty. That's really what emotional eating is. You feel emotionally empty, you feel bored or anxious or sad, and so you want to fill your stomach with food as a way of numbing yourself. So those women who have settled for low standards, they just have a low standard of living in general. They're dusty. These are dusty women who are okay living a dusty lifestyle. So you know the incel men who live in their mother's basements and they're like 500 pounds and they talk shit on the internet? That's basically the female version of that. The women who lower their standards, they don't care about their standard of living going up, and so they're just willing to settle for being big. And I have nothing against people who are big, who are trying to lose weight. What I talk shit about on this channel is the big women who refuse to lose weight and then they want to talk shit about women who are thin. You don't get to talk shit about my body type and then get mad when I defend myself. But these women are really bad at regulating themselves. They don't know how to regulate their emotions. So they're looking to have food just so they can have that dopamine hit. They just want stimulation. If I want stimulation, I will go outside. I'll go on a walk. I will go sit on the patio. I might go to the pool. Maybe I will get myself some electrolytes or an iced coffee, which is a natural appetite suppressant. I drink black coffee, by the way. And if I do sweetener, I will do a 0-calorie sweetener like Splenda. I don't drink iced lattes. There's a difference between an iced coffee and an iced latte, by the way. Because I see a lot of big women online, they'll be like, oh, I didn't have that much food. All I had was an iced latte. Okay, you had a venti caramel frappuccino, Sarah. That's like 700 calories. And then when you put the extra caramel syrup on there, I mean, you might as well have ate a whole meal with the amount of calories you just had. So iced coffee is not the same as an iced latte. But if I need stimulation, I will have a 0-calorie drink. I will go outside in nature. I can pick up a book and read something. Bring back reading. What happened to reading as a hobby? Why do people not do that anymore? Why is it just, oh, I have to stuff my face with a bunch of donuts? And it also doesn't make sense because if I'm looking for entertainment, the amount of time it takes to eat a donut is what, 5 minutes? I'm only entertaining myself for 5 minutes, whereas if I read a book, I'm entertaining myself for like 8 hours. But these women settle and then they'll go on a date and be like, oh, I'm just going to have a salad. So they want to try to like perform. You know, they want to perform like they're skinny. They get around other people and then they're like, oh, I'm just going to have a salad. Oh, I'm just going to have some crackers and cheese. And it's like the amount of time that you took editing your photos online or trying to perform for us thin people, you could have actually just became thin for real. And then another thing I've seen is women will be like, oh, well, I'm not even that big. Okay, well, bitch, is that my goal, to be not that big? Why am I comparing myself to Sasquatch and Bigfoot? They are not my standard of living. Why would I compare myself to women who are doing worse than me? That doesn't even make sense. If I'm going to set a goal, I want to aspire to be greater. So I want my health to go up. I don't just say, oh, well, at least I'm not as big as Keisha. Oh, well, at least I'm not as big as TT in them. They're 500 pounds. And a lot of times the people that I see calling others fat, usually it's like a big person or it's like a chunky person calling a big woman fat. It's like, ma'am, you're still chunky as well. Why are you trying to act like you're suddenly a supermodel? You ain't Naomi Campbell. Bitch, you ain't Tyra Banks. Actually, Tyra Banks got dragged because she gained weight. I guess Tyra Banks is like plus size now. But if you look at the people talking shit about Tyra Banks, it's other plus size people. It's literally big women talking shit about Tyra Banks and trying to humble Tyra Banks. It's like, okay, even if Tyra Banks is big now, she still spent the majority of her life being thin and healthy. So how many years have you spent being thin and healthy, Keisha? How many years over the age of 18 have you spent being thin? How much of your adult life has been spent being healthy? Because that's what I want to know. The main people talking crap about plus size women are other plus size people. But number 6, she settled out of fear. She has a fear of being seen. She has a fear of being seen trying. That's really what it is. A lot of women don't lose weight because they are scared to be seen trying to lose weight. They're scared to be seen messing up because there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. So they're scared of people talking shit about them. They're scared of people asking them at the party why they don't eat. If I'm going to be that scared of other people's opinions, then I'm not going to be their friend. How about them apples? How about you just get cut off? How about your number is blocked? Problem solved. Because you're not about to stop me from being healthy. Just because you want to eat like a beluga, just because you want to have 5 things of ice cream doesn't mean that I'm going to do the same thing. But some women settle because they have a fear of being seen trying. And also they have the fear of the type of attention they're going to receive when they lose the weight. So I talked about this in another video. It's called Being Scared of Your Own Beauty. So be sure to check out that video. But there are a lot of reasons why some women hide behind their weight. It's because being big helps you to fit in more. Let's be honest, being big helps you to fit in because you're not a threat. You're not a threat to other women's beauty. You're not a threat to her body image. And so for some women who are actually really pretty in the face, they will gain weight or they'll stay chunky because they'd rather be fat and loved than be skinny and alone. So it's really a fear of being alone. She's afraid of losing friends. She's afraid of being ostracized by her sisters and her family. Maybe she comes from a family where everybody's big. So in order to prevent being alone, she has to stay big. Or, you know, the women where they lose weight and then their boyfriends break up with them or whatever, you know, their relationship goes downhill. So they're scared of jealousy. That's why some women settle for being belugas, because they can't take the smoke of being a bad bitch. They can't take the heat of somebody talking shit about their weight loss journey. And I told you guys that when I lost weight, I didn't tell anybody. That was how I avoided that. It's like I didn't tell anybody. I just did my little weight loss experiments on my own. And then I just, you know, kind of put my head down. I wasn't going out a lot or socializing a lot. I was only going out maybe like once a month with my friends. And so every time my friends would see me, they'd be like, oh, wow, you look snatched, or like, oh, you lost weight. But they weren't there with me every step of the way. And that's actually a good thing, because I feel like it's easier to succeed when you have privacy. So I think some women, they don't lose weight because they don't want to deal with people trying to invade their privacy or trying to figure out, like, how did you become skinny? So that's why I just don't tell anybody. I don't tell anybody. If I want to eat super healthy or if I'm fasting, I definitely don't tend to fast in front of other people, because when I was in my 20s, I remember one time I was having broth. I was having like chicken broth. And then like this lady at my job started freaking out because I was having chicken broth. So if you feel like people are going to be super concerned about your weight loss, then just don't tell them. And definitely don't tell anybody you live with. That's the worst thing that you can do, is tell your friends and family who you live with that you're losing weight. I guarantee they are going to purchase cookies. They're going to start purchasing donuts. And a lot of people are like, oh, my mom, she just bought some donuts. She's trying to sabotage me. It's not that she's trying to sabotage you. Sometimes fat people are just trying to comfort themselves. Oh shit, my roommate is losing weight. Now I feel bad about myself. So my coping mechanism is to eat donuts. That's her habit. She just has a habit of eating to cope with difficult emotions. It's not always that she's trying to make you gain weight. It's that she's trying to comfort herself because you made her feel uncomfortable when you were losing weight. So definitely don't tell people you live with, because I guarantee you're probably going to fail after that, especially if you're really young too and you're very impressionable. You can't be an easily influenced person. Tell me how much you weigh and I will tell you how much you're easily influenced by others. Being fat is caused by being easily influenced. You just eat whatever the restaurant gave you. Okay, so you let them influence your portion size. So because they served you a plate with a whole bunch of food on it, you chose to eat that. Okay, you're easily influenced. You gain weight because you live with a bunch of fat people. Okay, so you're easily influenced. If you are overweight, it is because you are easily influenced in one way or another. So that's why I say that it takes a lot of mental strength and you have to have kind of like a strong identity. You have to develop like more boundaries, more emotional boundaries. If you are overweight, it's because you lack boundaries in some area. So that could be food. Well, actually, it is food for sure. It's definitely food. It's definitely portion control. It's a form of self neglect, not going to the doctor to fix your PCOS or whatever. So weight gain equals lack of boundaries. And it's also about knowing how to regulate your nervous system, because the people you live with, they are going to be affecting your nervous system. They're going to be affecting your nerves. Whenever somebody says, oh, she gets on my nerves, it means she emotionally dysregulates me. She activates my nervous system. She makes me angry. She's triggering my emotions. So that's why I talk about how moving in silence or kind of like keeping your privacy, that will help you to lose weight. Because when I had 3 roommates when I was in school, first of all, I had a fridge in my room. I had a mini fridge in my room. So all my most important healthy foods are right there next to me. They're right there next to my bed. I don't have to walk in the kitchen and see the other girls eating donuts. I don't have to go to the fridge that we all share and then see all the yummy stuff that's in the fridge and see all the ice creams that the other people just bought. I prevented that by increasing my privacy. And I see a lot of girls commenting, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm starting to lose weight and my parents, they just bought a bunch of donuts and bread. Why are you worrying about what your parents are buying? That's your parents. That's their food, not yours. Why are you paying attention to what your roommates are eating? That's their body, not yours. You don't like it when other people watch your diet, so why are you watching your parents' diet? Why are you depending on them to feed you anyway? If you're an adult, you don't have to depend on them. First of all, you can't be a grown ass adult trying to lose weight and then get mad that your parents bought donuts. Why are you trying to depend on your parents to purchase weight loss foods for you? That's problem number one. That's a form of codependency. You're never going to lose weight if you're depending on others to help you lose the weight. That's not how weight loss works. You have to take initiative over your own like body. If I'm around my family and they just went to a restaurant and they brought back a bunch of food, I will fast. I will not eat that because I refuse to eat anything that's going to sabotage my goal. So I will just let my family know, oh, no, I'm just going to have some tea. I'm just going to drink some jasmine tea. I'm just going to have some coffee. I'm just going to have this little soda or whatever. You know, I'm going to have my protein bar. I used to carry protein bars in my purse because it was a good little snack. And that was back when I used to get triggered a little bit more and wanting to eat. So that's why I would put a protein bar or I would put some grapes. That was like a really big one for me. I would put grapes in my purse. Like I would have a Ziploc bag with just grapes in them. So that whenever I was walking past the bakery aisle in the grocery store, that triggers me. So I would always have grapes in my purse so that when I see the baked goods, instead of impulsively purchasing cake, I would just go ahead and eat the grapes that I had in my purse because it's a nice sweet taste. You know, it helps me to kind of like have that taste without having to purchase sugar. Because sometimes, like when it came to cravings, I wasn't always hungry, but I was just craving a certain texture or a certain taste. So if I wanted something sweet, I would do grapes or strawberries. Like I would just have a bag of that in my purse. If I wanted something crunchy, bell peppers. If I wanted something salty, usually I would put like the 0-calorie oil and then like some salt or some oxtail seasoning. I would put that on the bell peppers and shake it up in the bag so that if I'm craving something savory, I can just eat that right out of the Ziploc bag. I don't have to worry about what my parents are eating. All of that is an external locus of control. Oh, well, everybody else who lives with me, they eat unhealthy foods. Why am I focusing on them? I don't give a fuck about what they're doing with their own bodies. It's their body. They have a right to eat unhealthy if they want to. If they want to be belugas, they can be belugas. But I would always have my little emergency snacks with me. And then when I lived with roommates, I pre-planned my meals. Like I had these smoothies that I would pre-make. So I'd make them about 3 to 5 days ahead. I don't really recommend that. I don't think you're supposed to do that. But I was in my early 20s. So I would have them all just in the fridge or in the freezer. And then when it's time for me to have breakfast in the morning, I just go to the fridge and I get my smoothie and I immediately walk out of the kitchen. I don't sit around in the living room area while they're cooking their bacon and their eggs and stuff. No, because that's going to be a trigger. I'm going to be triggered by the smell, and it's going to make me want some egg McMuffins or something. So I try to get away from the triggers. And for those of you who live with people who trigger you, okay, so it sounds like you've got some other problems besides just weight loss. How important is weight loss to you? Is it your number one priority? Because the only way that I lost weight and got back to an extra small was by making it my number one priority. Even this morning, I did not start recording because I was like, I didn't do my 10K steps. I missed my 10K steps. I said I was going to get 15K steps yesterday, and I didn't. So I need to get some more steps this morning before I start working on my YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel does not come before my weight loss and my body and my health. My health comes first. So you know how I talk about decentering men? Part of what I center my identity around is my physical health. So, and that includes my weight. There's a such thing as being at a healthy weight. If you're overweight, you're not at a healthy weight. So I'm not about to sacrifice that for a YouTube channel. I'm not going to sacrifice that because my mom and dad bought donuts. That's an excuse. I don't have to eat what my mom and dad are eating. But with my desserts, I also came up with like some healthy desserts for myself. So strawberries are very low calorie. Basically like volume eating, that really helped me a lot. Having strawberries and cabbage, those are my main volume foods, and watermelon as well. Oh my God, I love watermelon. But I would also do like fruit with Cool Whip, so blueberries with Cool Whip, because ice cream, that used to be my weakness. And you actually can make your own ice cream. I don't know how to do that. I hate using the blender. That's actually one of my weaknesses in terms of like health habits or whatever. I am not a blender girl. I don't like chopping up a bunch of shit or like trying to put it in a blender or put it in a juicer. I don't like using that kitchen appliance because I don't like cleaning it. I don't like the sound of the blender. It's loud, especially in the morning. I don't want to wake up and like blend something at 5 a.m. That's not my strength. So I had to learn what my strengths were going to be as a skinny girl. Every skinny girl has strengths. Some girls are really good at meal prepping. Some girls are good at not eating sweets. If you are good at not eating sweets, congratulations. I'm the type of person where I have to completely cut out sweets. Like, I can't even purchase them. If I want to get off sweets, that's how I have to do it. Some women are really good at just eating a little bit of a sweet and then they put it back in the fridge or whatever. So you have to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are with weight loss, and then you have to find out how to work around those things. Because with the desserts, I had to make up my own desserts. So peanut butter and chocolate, that became one of my desserts. I would get like cacao. You know, the cacao nibs. They're actually kind of nasty though. I'm just going to be honest. They don't taste very good. But I started experimenting with like cacao nibs or chocolate protein powder and trying to blend that in to try to create something. So I would make like the peanut butter and jelly smoothies. That was a good way to like get that craving out. Any girl that you know who lost weight, she basically found what worked for her and she kept repeating it. So if there is some sort of strategy that works for you, just do that and keep doing it, and definitely don't tell others that that's what you're doing. And by the way, if other people are making comments about your weight loss, that's actually a sign that you are successful. If they're making comments like, "Oh, you don't eat. Oh, well, you're not being healthy. You must have an ED." Okay, well, clearly I'm doing something right because you're noticing the progress I'm making. Also, people seem to forget that obesity is also an ED. Being addicted to food, addicted to sugar, that's a form of having an ED as well. So it's like, okay, I guess we all have EDs then. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.